Alright, what's up guys? I'm going to go over my trading from Friday. I'm just now getting around to doing the vlog, going through the trades I made on Friday. So let's get into this. Alright. So this is closing out a week where I kind of was like, okay, I'm kind of at a point now where I have a decision to make. Do I continue to try and just throw capital at things and expect them to work out, or do I try and refine my process more than ever and not even really worry about am I gonna make any money or whatever, just focus on trying to put up green days and trying to keep my losers short and my winners big. And that's easier said than done, but most of my focus this week was on making good trades, making 1 to 3 good trades a day. Don't need to trade more than that. Practice patient. My daily goal was to work on getting the number of losing trades down while continuing to manage the tight stops. So overall, just trying to cut down on trades and keep my losers small. Monthly goal was just to finish the month green. That would be a huge win for me, and to be able to get some more statistics into tradervue so that I can start to really refine my trading. Because it's hard to do when you're trying to swing trade, you're trying to trade futures, you're trying to trade option spreads, you're trying to trade all this other stuff. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to quit doing that, and I'm going to focus on trading stock and long options in a day trading manner. I'm opening up a U stock trade account, getting money into that. That's going to be the place that I start trading stock. Probably low floats to start, some like micro caps, because that's all I'm going to have money to put a bunch of shares on for. Anyway, right now I'm using options, and that's how I continue to plan to go here into the future. So I was also looking for a way to manage the tension and relief that I feel when I'm entering and exiting a position. This biofeedback that I get, as Dr. Steenbarger talks about, is not very... you can get a lot of information from it, and I've noticed that I really tense up when I'm in the trade, even if it's going my way. And then as soon as I get out of the trade, it's like a relief. It's like, whew, And that is something that I'm really working on here. Develop, and this is what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm trying to develop a proper sizing chart for options and stock, so I can just have a quick at-a-glance, figure out what my tier 1 is, what my feeler size is, what my, as I start to size up through tier 4, what does that size look like? And I need to make a chart for that, which is what I plan on doing. Create reasons to hold, reasons to sell, reason to buy lists. Just to kind of have these things posted so that I can't just make up rules for going in and out of trades. So we'll get through that. Pre-market didn't have any issues today or on Friday, going into today with the idea of that overtrading is costing me the big bucks, and I'm not going to overtrade today. Today I watched a video on the cognitive approach to trading psychology, and Dr. Steenbarger went over the importance of self-talk while trading. It is important to look at your inner dialogue, and self-talk is a way to mentor yourself. And if you're using negative language, then that would be like your mentor is shit-talking you. it is important to look at your thoughts and take a break when you start to say things to yourself that can influence your trading decisions poorly, or allow you to take outsized risk. It goes both ways, and that's kind of how I'm trying to do here. I plan on using this when I take breaks to review and guide my learning throughout the day. I've also decided that the best thing for me to do as far as taking breaks is to have pre-made questions to answer in those breaks, so that I can keep record of it, put it in my trade reviews, and start to show some progress in that area of not overtrading. The breaks are going to help me with the overtrading and trying to figure out if I'm on tilt, because I was on tilt Friday after I don't remember why I was on tilt, but maybe because of this I was giving back profits, and Friday options are always move super quick, and I'm not a huge fan, honestly. I like to trade next week's expiration on Friday sometimes. Anyway, but so the idea is just to make a few trades and try to only take setups that will deliver green results, no matter if they're huge wins. So instead of hitting home runs, which I think might be more my personality, we're still sifting through that with the technology, but instead of trying to make home runs, just trying to get on base here. And that's really what I was trying to do this past week. I think the execution and then waiting for things to work out is a really huge way to get better at overtrading. Scalping is awesome, but it's got to be a great setup. So, and then I took some notes on my midday break. I found that I was trading pretty well this morning, and I'm following my rules rather well today. I got 2 decent chops and made a smart stop out exit on SQ, which kept me from getting flush bad. Great intuitive read. So that's the type of self-talk that keeps you in the game. So let's go look at this SQ trade. I was watching Snap because, look at this setup here. Like, pulling back, that's great. But here's SQ. See if I can. I entered this trade at, well, I can't see. So it's 9:56. So I've been in this trade. Okay. I think. Alright. Well, it looks like I was in this trade already here. So I believe I got in, well, if you want to look at this, I got in here, out here, and then tried to make another entry. I sold this one here and then tried to make another entry, but it just ended up falling. I think I closed that in the same candle, actually. You can look at the 1 minute and see. Yeah, so long here, out to here, and then I set up for a re-entry here, and it failed. So, but let's look at it live. Actually, you can't even really see where I got into it because I didn't start recording on time. But okay, we see it growing. SQ, okay. Okay, here we go. SQ is pulling back. I don't remember. I guess I sold into that strength. Yeah, I sold into it right here. So I got out before it pulled back. But I decided I would re-enter. And that didn't work out for me. I ended up taking a little little paper cut on that. But yeah. I will playbook this just to go through it because I think it was a solid trade. I don't have the tape reading from where I entered because it kind of took off and I didn't have recording yet. But big picture going on here. You know, we can look at SPY. Sorry, I just whistled out of nowhere. SPY gapped up. As you can see here, gapped up, flushed back, filled the gap, and then took off. I mean, all day long, just ran. On new all-time highs, everything going on with that. So that was a really good day in the SPY. And like honestly, it would have been good to trade SPY lottos, but that wasn't in my playbook for the day. And you know, it's just something that I look to do because I've traded the Qs really well. Qs just went for a run this morning. Absolutely got lifted off VWAP early in the morning and never came back down to it. And that's how it goes sometimes. Look at the 5 minute. Yeah, I mean, we got lifted off of VWAP early and never found it again. It happens like that. But the SPY was doing good, and you know, this was driving tech, so I'm like, okay, the Qs and SPY are going great. The Dow, not so much. It did climb, but it's at the top of this range on the daily that, you know, I'm not so fond of the Dow as much as I am the Qs, which are just flying high, and the SPY, which are doing the same. So that's big picture. Fundamentals on this trade. You know, SQ has an ATR of 9. They had elevated R-vol this morning. Didn't know what that was. I don't have that metric up there. But anyway, I thought that this pullback here was a great place to get in, and I think that's where I got in. Yep, on the pullback, bought this candle that was bullish engulfing. Rode this up, sold them because of this weakness here, but it kept going through. And if I was able to hold more options, I would, you know, have sold majority here and held, but you know, I would have gotten sweeped here anyway. So it's kind of a move to move type of deal, especially being early in the morning. I like to make those move to moves and just scalp them. Try to leave one runner if I have the size to do that, but I didn't have the size to do that here, and I made a nice chop on it, you know. Close P&L is 64, but that's because, you know, I messed that up, you know. It is what it is. But and then I tried to re-enter and got stopped out, which is what drug that price down. But anyway, so I like that trade. It's nothing crazy, but it's some way to make money. You know, this little pullback, it held there and wicked up. That's a perfect entry. I mean, you can just get in here and ride this, you know. But I was looking at it on a 1 minute when I entered. All right, let's talk about the other trades that I made. I'm trying to put this back over here. Okay, so as the day went on, I was watching Snap all day, looking at shorting that Russell, but there's a lot of strength today, so I didn't end up doing that. Did some scanning. So mRNA. Let's see here, 11 a.m. Okay, so I'm watching mRNA here. Watching this squeeze. I'm looking for where this is going to fire. I want it to fire to the upside because that's where the indices are going. That's where the big picture is. But I'm willing to take a short trade on this because if it breaks below this line, it just shows that all these buyers were trapped and it could really move to the downside. So, you know, I kept watching it. Was looking for this squeeze because it looked like it would fire and just go bonkers. But I didn't act on it at all. And that's the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, it's looking like it wants to break out. So I'm watching, and we end up just keep failing VWAP here, and I'm like, okay, well that's interesting. Let's see if this can break out of this range to the downside. I tried to pull up the DOM on it on tradervue or on Ninja Trader, but it didn't work. So here's where I'm getting interested. The tape is showing that there's a couple bids here. You know, and I'm watching. I'm thinking that we're going to break this range to the downside and potentially get wicked back up, but I'm only entering below this line because that is where we've touched 3 times this morning. And there's like a kind of a volume ledge there, and I thought that it would maybe tank, trap some traders long. You know, this setup where it bounces, it drops below to retest VWAP a couple times and then fails. I like that setup. And the fact that it's failing this moving average as well, I like. But the price action showing that there's a lot of wicks under here. There's a lot of buyers that are just wicking this back up. But I'm thinking if that 332.07 or 332 doesn't hold, that we could get a down move to this line and potentially push through it with some stop outs, because I know there's some stops down here. And then a stop flush would be a good opportunity to trade momentum to the downside with put options. So we get the break of the moving average. It holds there. We start wicking back up again, but the momentum continues, and 330 is kind of where I'm looking at that. 329 is where it would break. There's no unusual bids coming in here that's holding this up. They're just kind of letting it flush, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to move to the downside. This squeeze is going to fire. We're going to lose this. And I got long as it broke this right here. I'm thinking, okay, let's read the tape. I was thinking this was going to fail. We got rebid here, but it doesn't hold. This rebid does not hold, and there's some selling that just comes in. The ticks take a little start to take a little dive down during this time as well, which you can see. Oops, what the heck? You can see that here. Ticks start to go down. And I'm just being patient here, waiting for it to break below, because I still don't like this wick action here. And what this ends up being is just a pullback in the SPY and the Qs. It's not even really a pullback in the Qs, it's just a pullback in the SPY that gets bought up. So I enter as it breaks below the second time. There we go. Limit to buy. I bought one put. That was my size for this. Wasn't very confident in this. Would have liked to have gotten short up here, but I didn't do that because I was looking for the squeeze to fire. Now I'm looking for the squeeze to fire down, and that is, you know, that's how I anticipate this happening. I end up buying another put here because it holds below this level, and we just kind of creep lower, but it doesn't do what I wanted it to do. It does not run stops, and I thought it would run these stops really hard here, but it just gets bought up. And so I ended up getting out of this. Oh, see, there we go. There's the stop run. But it's not enough to see this thing fall apart. It looks weak, but it doesn't fall apart. It gets bought up. And so I sell into this. I sell one option into this just to get some profit on the table. It's still got to break below this level. Still got to break below this level it held at the close yesterday. And really, truly, this level was just the high of day yesterday that it wicked off of 3 times that morning. All said and done, I get a reason to sell because it rebids up to that level. It doesn't move. You know, you expect this thing to really fall apart here, and it doesn't. It tries to again and really doesn't make much progress to the downside. There's just a lot of bids coming in. You know, people start buying it like crazy here, and that is not what you want to see in something like this, where I'm trying to see this thing fall apart. And it got kind of extended, like 1, 2, 3 bars of just extreme selling pressure. So I ended up closing out my other position for a decent sized gain. Well, not for a decent sized game, but I get back some of my profit on this because it starts coming back up, but it just doesn't hold, and I'm like, okay, well, this thing's, you know, that wick tells me everything I need to know, you know. Reading the tape, watching this candle form, seeing how it ran these stops, and then people just repositioned, you know. Saw this took advantage of it as a buying opportunity to get it at the pre-market low. Squeeze fired to the long side, and I was really thinking this thing would move more, but it just doesn't. It stalls here, lots of volume, trying to buy, and I'm just, you know, I'm not really feeling it. And then we start moving back up, and I stop out of it. Look at the trader view of that. I made one more trade. Here's the trader view. So I buy here, I sell on the, you know, as this candle pushes here. And I buy another one on this candle as well, and then it just doesn't move the way I want to, so I stop out here. And I'm glad I did that because it really just continued to run the rest of the day, and that would not have been good for that option. But I ended up making 40 bucks on it. I was making a lot more before that happened, but it is what it is, and that's alright. You know, I profited on both option sales, so that's good to see. The other trade that I made that day was on NVDA. And what really happened here was that on a 1 minute, I'm waiting for it to break out of this. I'm thinking it's got some continuation going here. Wasn't really a clean setup. This is clearly overtrading. Clear overtrading. Didn't get in when it really wanted to break out, and then ended up chasing it. And so this trade was just a pure and utter disaster. Went over my risk allowance per trade by $11. And look at all these trades I made on it. That is clear over trading on this ticker, and it really just didn't work well for me. You know, it just didn't work. And I gave back some of my profit, but I still am gonna go over. I'm gonna do kind of my weekly review on this. Okay, so let's go over. Oh, the other question about that trade this morning on Square was I could have gotten bigger on that, but I could have gotten bigger. I think here would have been a great place to add to it, especially after we got this wick up and then just push through it again. That, to me, we got a breakout, pullback, and then boom. And that would have been a great place to add, was on that pullback. And just cut this shit out. That's what, I mean, really how you can get better is just to cut that out and focus on the trade that really set up here. And this pullback set me up for a perfect pull. This was a pullback to the view app, and it set me up for a really great trade. But anyway, I could have gotten much bigger here when I got the confirmation that it was breaking out, and that was, to me, a great play. And then I would have had a little bit more size to let run up here. And you can see how it came back down, tested this level, and then broke through it and continued to downtrend all day. But we're going to look at this week. Just to get through this. Okay, so overview here. This was my total P&L for the week, 161.00, minus all the commissions, which probably puts this closer to about 100. I doubt I spent $60 in commissions, but might have. I don't have the full version of this, so it doesn't show me commissions. This is concerning to me. I don't like that I had 33% of my trades were winners and 66% were losers, and that is just a total side effect of overtrading. My average hold time for losing trades was 8 minutes because I don't get the confirmation and I just get out. Average hold time on the winning trades was 23 minutes. And this is what I really like to see here. My average winning trade was 134. My average losing trade was 53. That is improvement. Lots of great improvement for me. My largest gain was in VAX, and it was really just a open and drive trade. We opened, broke through high of day yesterday, and then pulled back pretty violently, and then immediately bid that level again. And I got in, and I got in with size. Actually, no, I didn't get in with size. I got in with one contract, which is plenty of size for me because it was a $12 contract, and I'm trading a $4,000 account, so that's plenty of size for me. Made a nice chop on this. Very proud of this trade, and I want to replicate this in the future. You know, that type of action where it pulls back, breaks above high of day yesterday, which is my key level that keys me into, okay, this thing's going to pull back, maybe, and if it does, I'm going to get back in, and it does, and I get into it, open that position, set a stop, you know, as it gets above this level here, I set the stop, you know, 10 cents below that, and just let it rip. Worked out really well. So let's look at my reports on this. Win-loss days on my total gain-loss on my winning days. 354. My average daily gain loss was $18 or $118. My average loss on my losing days was 96. I'd like to get that figured out so that it's less. And as you can see, I hold things more on my winning days because they move in my favor. And I get out of things really quick on these losing days. This largest loss here was just an awful trade that I'll show you, and I went over it. It was in Moderna. I was thinking this was, you know, really about to make a run up, and it did after I took a nasty loss on it, you know, and it really just, it had this consolidation, broke out, and then came back down, and that's not my trade. My trade is not playing the breakout, it's playing the pullback to the breakout consolidation, and that's where I make my money. That's my job to trade that, and I didn't do that, so I got in early. It's alright though. That would have been a nice chop if I had let it run, but I didn't have the I oversized. I put 2 contracts on here and took them off after it immediately pulled back against me. But that, I learned from that for sure. Reports. Okay, so the other thing that I really like was performance by hour. On the 9 o'clock, right at the bell, I do a really good job trading the opening drive, and then I start to give it back. And I think really what this is just over trading. Like, I get excited from trading the bell, and I kind of need to just take a break until about 10:30, so that I can start trying to get into things for a longer part of the day. Yeah. So this is, if I hold the trade for less than a minute, I lost 317. Holding the trade for 2 to 5 minutes, doing really good. And then I do pretty good when I hold them for about an hour to an hour and a half. So really, like, these quick ones are just me getting stopped out quick because it's not working. But yeah, I really like TradingView, and I really like being able to do this. So yeah, this is really good, and I'm looking forward to continuing it next week. So I'm gonna get this video up, and I appreciate all the comments and suggestions that I potentially could get. So thank you.